Hey guys, get with me for a sleepover where I tell you guys about the most problematic sleepover I've ever had. So to start off, I was in this little friend group with these two girls. Let's call them Bethany and Elizabeth. Anyways, we were having a sleepover for Bethany's birthday, and the sleepover was pretty good until halfway through the night. So we were downstairs, I think we were making like cookies or something, when all of a sudden we heard like this creepy noise. And a week prior of us having a sleepover, someone broke into Bethany's backyard and kidnapped her dog. So we were already super scared of somebody breaking it. And then we heard like this creaky noise from the stairs and the turning of a doorknob. And we were convinced that someone was going to break in, so we came up with a little plan. So we went to Bethany's room and we got these little backpacks and filled them up with like little weapons. These weapons were like tennis balls and perfumes because we thought we could fight off an intruder with tennis balls and perfume. Throughout the night, we kept on hearing these creepy noises and we were convinced that we were going to get like killed or something. So we stayed up till like 7 a.m. And while we were in the midst of like preparing for an intruder, Elizabeth started like crying. And so Bethany went over to like Elizabeth's side and they started like playing all of these games. But when I went over to try to play one of the games with them, they told me no. Also, this little serum thing is the best primer ever. Just look. It's better than the e.l.f. primer in my opinion. Back to the story time. So these girls just said I couldn't play this like little board game with them, and I was so annoyed because they were like leaving me out and I wasn't even really close friends with Elizabeth, so it was just like super awkward. Anyways, so then I suggested that we should go watch a movie. So we went downstairs to our kitchen to get some snacks. But while we were downstairs, we saw like this figure through the windows. Now, I was in the pantry while this happened, so I didn't see the figure, but I just heard like gasps and then them running upstairs. And so when I left the pantry, I had all these snacks, and then I saw that figure and I like ran upstairs. And when I ran upstairs, these girls were huddled up in like a little corner and I heard them like whispering my name. I just knew they were talking about me, but I didn't know why or what they would be saying, so I kind of just like let it go. But anyways, those girls were mad at me because I didn't get the snacks, because after I saw that like creepy little figure, I just ran upstairs. So they made me go back downstairs to go get the snacks, and I was like, do any of you guys want to come with me? And they were like, no, you can do it by yourself. Like, we were convinced someone was going to break in, and they just told me to go downstairs by myself. Anyways, I went downstairs to go get snacks, and then Elizabeth eventually came down. And when she was downstairs, I like asked her, I was like, were you guys talking about me? And she was like, no. But I could just tell they were, like, I just knew it. So for the rest of the night, the two of them just kept on leaving me out. Both of them were really into like this show. I don't really know what it was called, but I never watched it, and they kept on like talking about it, and I was like, oh, what are you guys talking about? And they were like, you wouldn't understand. So we eventually went to sleep, but they made me sleep on the floor because there was only room for the two of them on Bethany's bed. Anyways, I like for part 2 because it gets worse. Get with me for a sleepover while I tell you guys about the most problematic sleepover I've ever had, part 2. So where we left off, Bethany made me sleep on the floor, which obviously it is her house, it is her rules, but at the same time, every time I have a sleepover, I make sure my guests have the priority of being comfortable. So I was a little already annoyed from like the past events, like hearing them talk bad about me and just stuff like that. So sleeping on the floor was like my breaking point. But eventually we all fell asleep, and in the morning Bethany's mom made us breakfast. She made these cinnamon rolls, and if you know me, cinnamon rolls are my favorite. I will down a whole pan if I have to. But Elizabeth and Bethany woke up before me and they went and had breakfast. But when I eventually woke up by myself, I came downstairs to go get food and there was nothing left. And so I asked Bethany, I was like, is there anything I can have for breakfast? And she said, yeah, there was, but we gave it to the dog. She said it just like that. And also keep in mind, she had 2 dogs, the one that got kidnapped and the one that she gave my food to. And so that was just like super annoying. So I was just like, it's whatever, I'm just gonna eat at home. So after that happened, I went into the pantry to try to get something to eat, and they ran upstairs. They like bolted and they were laughing and giggling. And I knew they were about to do something, so I like crept upstairs and I was like eavesdropping. And I saw them go into my bag and take stuff, like my sleepover bag. And this is when I had enough. I like confronted them. I was like, what are you guys doing? And they were over here like digging in my stuff. And then they were just like, oh, we were just looking for my shirt. We think you stole it. I was like, no, I don't ever get mad, but I was raging at this point. And so I responded, I was like, you know, I would never steal. Why are you guys digging in my bag? I know that's not the real reason. And then Elizabeth said that they were just trying to prank me. And guess what they were going to prank me by? They were going to put toothpaste all over my clothes. I was already so miserable at this point, so I just texted my dad to come pick me up. So anyways, the two of them just kept on doing like their own little thing. and they kept excluding me from everything. So there was like this little couch in our bonus room, and we were going to watch a movie, and this little couch could fit all 3 of us. But they decided to get on the couch and like sit with like all their legs spread out, and so there was not any room for me. So once again, I sat on the floor to watch the show, but then my dad texted me saying that he was close, so I went back into Bethany's room and packed all my stuff up. And as I was packing my stuff up, I like looked out her door and I saw the 2 of them whispering to each other. And now the love seat is facing this direction, so they couldn't see me, but I could see them. So I decided to sneak up behind them to hear what they were saying. So I crept behind them and I was listening to everything they were saying. They were saying stuff how I was being so annoying this whole night and how they wish they didn't invite me. So supposedly Elizabeth was staying for a double sleepover, but I wasn't invited, which I'm glad because I wouldn't have even stayed. But it was still just super weird how these girls just like left me out and didn't even care. But yeah, that's it for the story times, and me and Bethany did not stay friends. Bye guys!
It's clear that I'm not white, but my dad's white, so he's gotten into a lot of trouble for having a black daughter. My dad was the custodian at my middle school, and not all the teachers knew that. My dad and I decided that we were gonna go on a late night walk because we wanted to go to the convenience store, and it so happens that the teachers at my school were having some sort of staff dinner in the same plaza. My dad and I go to the convenience store, and we come out, and I guess the teachers are leaving now. We're walking back home, and we see like a car slow down beside us, and then it like turns all the way over because we're still in the parking lot and like they're on the road. So he drives past us slowly and we make eye contact, and then he like zooms off, but the shock on his face was like, we were like, that was weird, but like whatever. I know for a fact this man went home and couldn't sleep at night thinking, oh my gosh, one of my students is out late at night with the custodian. The next day was a school day and my dad gets called into the office. Right away the principal said like a teacher came to him and they're extremely worried about Destiny, and my dad knew right away what teacher it was and why they were worried. Luckily the teacher knew my dad, so it wasn't really a big deal. They kind of laughed about it, but this has happened to my dad so much, like in real life, people stopping him and being like, whoa.
So I have a little story time of something that happened yesterday. So sit down, it's story time. One of my favorite hobbies ever is people watching. I love people watching, especially like couples. Anyway, after work, me and my sister went into the city. It was such a nice day out, so we went to like one of the museums and like sat outside. A lot of people were outside, especially a lot of couples. They were like on their cute little blankets, and then this one couple really caught my eye. They were like almost in front of me and my sister. When I tell you, I saw one of the prettiest girls I had ever seen in my entire life. Like, drop dead gorgeous. They were probably around my age, you know, like in their newly 20s. I'm looking at them and they look so cute. He's like looking at her with so much love. She's looking at him with so much love. He's like fixing her hair, like putting it behind her ear. And I was like, aw, until when his girl wasn't looking and any girl would walk by, his head, whoosh, whoosh, like a vacuum, staring at everyone, making sure she didn't see. When I tell you, my face went from to so quickly, I'm not joking. I really wanted to tell her, but I guess homie didn't have a bladder because he didn't get up to go to the bathroom once. And when I tell you guys, this girl was drop dead gorgeous, like beautiful, and he looked like a character straight off Blue's Clues. I genuinely do not understand guys that are like that. That behavior is literally so disgusting. If I were to ever, and I mean ever, catch Jake looking at a girl like that, I would use his eyeballs as earrings. Literally decorate his corneas. No joke. Anyway, I love you and I will see you all in my next video.